After 371 days in space, NASA astronaut Frank Rubio returned to Earth. Excited to learn what he has done on those 371 days. How did he survive in space? Now he's back. How will he be able to live on Earth and face the real gravity? The 47-year-old broke the record for the longest time spent in space by a U.S. astronaut earlier this year after his original 6-month mission at the International Space Station was extended by an additional 6 months. Rubio and his crewmates touched down at 7:17 a.m. southeast of Kazakhstan, Kazakhstan, NASA said in a release. He told Good Morning America in August that he will be examined by a medical team upon his arrival, and he may need some time to readapt to Earth's gravity and rebalance his equilibrium for everyday tasks such as walking and standing upright. Experts say spending a prolonged period in space, especially 1 year, comes with many changes to human physiology and psychology. One of the biggest changes comes from spending time in microgravity, which allows astronauts to float inside a spacecraft or outside during spacewalks. During this period, there is a decrease of muscle mass due to decreased use and lack of stimulus through exercise equipment and bone loss. Some discussions if we share with you then. The question is, how do you coordinate movement like walking, which you haven't done for a long period of time, and then the idea of balance? When you put those two together, it can kind of create a little bit of a precarious situation and something that's very well monitored with the crew members when they land on Earth. The longer the mission, the longer it can take to acclimate. 4 to 6 month missions take 2 to 3 days. Longer missions would likely take even longer to balance everything while coming to the Earth again. Additionally, because of the weightlessness in microgravity, blood and cerebrospinal fluid often shift upward from the lower extremities to the head and eyes, which is believed to cause eye and brain structural changes. This is a phenomenon known as spaceflight-associated neuroocular syndrome, and long-duration astronauts may experience a variety of changes including an upward shift of the brain or eye swelling and blurry vision. There are also physical and psychological effects that come from being isolated in a closed environment for a long duration. Research has shown that this type of environment, regardless of whether someone is in space, can lead to behavioral changes and cause fatigue, stress, and sleep loss. If we dive deeper then, there are also changes to the immune system during this time, often a result of chronic stress, which is why it's important to create as healthy of an environment as possible for astronauts going on missions. Now, you must be thinking, who is Frank Rubio? Let's give you a bit of an introduction about this person. An Army doctor and helicopter pilot, Rubio joined NASA in 2017. Before joining the space program, Rubio served in the U.S. Army flying combat missions in the Black Hawk helicopter during deployments to Bosnia, Afghanistan, and Iraq. In 2010, Rubio earned a doctorate in medicine and remains a board-certified family physician and flight surgeon. A native of Los Angeles, Rubio resides in Miami, Florida with his family. Rubio's year-long expedition to the International Space Station was his first mission to space. Making the most out of his time aboard the space station, Rubio worked on numerous science projects, including studying how bacteria adapt to spaceflight and how future astronauts can exercise and best maintain physical health. He also conducted 3 spacewalks surpassing 21 hours. The investigations may prove invaluable for future missions, but in a September interview with Vande Hei shared by NASA, Rubio said that his proudest moment was to have the opportunity to fly with 28 different people aboard the space station. Every one of them have just been great crewmates, very special people, and they've hold special places now, because I've been able to share this experience with them. Rubio said, "That's the memory that I'll hold most dear forever." Now that he's landed, Rubio and his Russian companions, Prokopiev and Petelin, were to be flown from the landing site to Karaganda, Kazakhstan. From there, the American astronaut was to board a NASA plane back to Houston, a trip that this time won't be delayed. Let's tell you about the record-breaking mission. What was initially planned as a 180-day mission extended into an unexpected 371-day odyssey for Rubio, surpassing the previous NASA record held by Mark Vande Hei by over 2 weeks. Russia holds the ultimate record for space endurance, with a staggering 437-day mission achieved during the mid-1990s. Upon their return, Rubio and his cosmonaut companions traveled aboard a Soyuz capsule that had been launched as a replacement in February. This replacement was necessary due to a coolant leak issue in the original capsule, which raised concerns about the safety of its electronics and occupants. If we talk about astronomical achievements then, Rubio's mission began on September 21, 2022, and marked the longest single spaceflight by a U.S. astronaut, surpassing the previous record. During this extraordinary journey, he completed approximately 5,936 orbits and covered a staggering 157 million miles, equivalent to approximately 328 round trips to the moon. Rubio also witnessed the arrival and departure of 15 visiting spacecraft during his mission, and this mission was good for scientific exploration. For example, Rubio's extended mission presented a unique opportunity for researchers to study the effects of long-duration spaceflight on the human body. These findings will be invaluable as NASA prepares for the upcoming Artemis missions to the Moon and the eventual exploration of Mars. Throughout his mission, Rubio dedicated numerous hours to conducting scientific experiments, ranging from plant research to physical sciences studies. It might not have been Rubio's intention, but his lengthy and unanticipated stay in space helped him make history. The 47-year-old astronaut now holds the American record for the longest spaceflight, surpassing the previous endurance record set in 2022 by more than 2 weeks. NASA astronaut Frank Rubio didn't set out to break any spaceflight records when he and 2 Russian cosmonauts launched aboard a rocket more than a year ago, bound for the International Space Station. The mission was only meant to last 6 months. But that was before a piece of space junk pierced the Explorer's original capsule late last year, requiring a new Soyuz spacecraft to be rushed up to them for their return journey to Earth. Ultimately, Rubio would spend 371 days in space before his mission came to an end, according to NASA. Rubio and his Russian companions, Sergei Prokopyev and Dmitry Petelin, landed Wednesday morning in a remote area of Kazakhstan in the replacement Soyuz capsule that had only reached them aboard the space station. The record-setting trip was more than twice as long as originally scheduled. Rubio, along with Russian cosmonauts Sergei Prokopyev and Dmitry Petelin, touched down in rural Kazakhstan on September 27. They were pulled out of their Soyuz capsule and carried away because they were unable to walk due to their extended stay in microgravity. Rubio, Prokopyev, and Petelin arrived on the ISS aboard a Soyuz capsule on September 21, 2022. They were due to return to Earth on March 28, but had to remain in space after their spacecraft was hit by a piece of space junk or meteoroid in December 2022, which caused an uncontrollable radiator leak. The unrepairable capsule was returned to Earth and was replaced by another uncrewed capsule in February, which the trio used to return home. Due to other scheduling conflicts, Rubio, Prokopyev, and Petelin had to remain aboard the ISS until now. But Rubio's extended stay provides an unexpected opportunity to learn more about prolonged spaceflight. The previous record spaceflight by an American was held by Vande Hei, who spent 355 consecutive days on board the ISS between 2021 and 2022. But the longest ever consecutive time spent in space was a whopping 437 days, which was set by cosmonaut Valery Polyakov between 1994 and 1995. During his mission, Rubio completed approximately 5,936 orbits of Earth, which equates to around 157 million miles, 253 million kilometers, or roughly 328 trips to the Moon and back, according to NASA. He also carried out 3 spacewalks totaling around 21 hours and had 28 different crewmates on the ISS. In a September 19 interview on board the ISS, Rubio explained that it had been hard to be away from his family for such a long time, but that he had tried hard to stay positive during his extended mission. You try to just focus on the job and on the mission and remain steady, because ultimately, every day, you have to show up and do the work, he said. Rubio conducted a variety of scientific experiments during his time in space, including testing how bacteria behave in microgravity. But his favorite experiments were carried out on a tomato plant. "I love working with that little plant and seeing it grow and develop," he said. It will be particularly interesting to see how well Rubio adjusts to life back on Earth. Prolonged time in space can cause muscle degeneration, bone loss, reduced eyesight, and impaired balance, and can even change the shape of the brain. The recent record-breaking mission was Rubio's first time in space, which means his body has not experienced any of these issues before. He predicts that it could take 2 to 6 months to feel completely normal again. Friends, what are your thoughts about this mission that Rubio had? Tell us in the comments. To stay updated, Please subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification. Don't forget to like and share the video. See you soon with such informative videos. Till then, thank you for watching this video until the end.